Thank you. I am pleased to review an informative and unique book, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. The 4 Agreements is a spiritual and psychological self-help guide. It's aimed to improving your life with your beliefs and not who others believe you should be. The book came out in 1997 and outlines that an individual should contract 4 agreements to themselves. And these agreements are: be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. I'm Clifton Andrew Castile. The 4 Agreements offers a powerful code of conduct that can rapidly transform our lives into a new experience of freedom, true happiness, and love. The book is a practical guide for personal freedom that is grounded in ancient Toltec wisdom. By now, most of you are aware that I experienced anxiety and depression for approximately 40 years, which I revealed in many videos. However, only recently have I realized the severity of my condition after moving to Monroe, Louisiana, and liking a supportive network of friends. While in New Orleans, multiple individuals suggested the 4 agreements to me and kindly provided copies, and perhaps I would develop more confidence and belief in having a productive life. You see, I was going through a difficult time marked by racial indifference at my workplace, a divorce, and the responsibility of raising 2 teenagers. However, each time I was given a copy, I refused to read the book, assuming it would not be inspirational and informative in relieving my challenges. Often I heard, "Clifton, something is bothering you, but I can't quite identify it." Now, why would you tell me that love isn't real and I shouldn't love you because your parents often remind you that you are a failure and no one loves failures? Clifton, please read a book, The 4 Agreements. It helped me when I was going through a divorce. I remember making a home mortgage payment and the cashier greeted me with "yes" while displaying agitation. And I responded with, "Yes, what?" Again, the cashier said, "Yes." You know what? I'm going to report you for choosing to disrespect me, maybe because of my race. My precocious teenage daughter pulled me to the side and suggested we see how she reacts with other customers. Well, a few minutes thereafter, "See, Dad, the woman acted the same with a white customer." Unknowingly though, I had ignored the rules of the 4 agreements. "Dad, I've already shared plenty of wisdom with you. Shouldn't you buy me a new Pac-Man cartridge? Then I will have even more wisdom to share." Well, instead of buying her a single cartridge, I happily purchased 12 cartridges for her. You see, I appreciate the wisdom she shows, which is something adults can learn from. You know, if we listen to our teenagers, they have so much insight. Of course, I reported the cashier for displaying unproductive behaviors towards customers. After coming to Monroe, I decided to buy the book after seeing Don Miguel Ruiz featured on Oprah. However, since I wasn't sleeping and severely depressed, I didn't gain clarity after reading the 4 agreements. Well, later cataract surgery was needed. I was in the patient's waiting section, but unsure if I had the right doctor. So I quickly texted a gentleman I believed to be a wonderful person and seek his advice. Well, he did text me, but it was the day following my eye surgery and stated, "I don't know, it might be okay." I also tried reaching out to a well-known gospel singer who is employed in public education for advice. But as usual, he did not respond. Later, when both men refused to assist in helping to improve the lives of underserved youths in Monroe, my anxiety and depression had me on the ground floor of mental illness and not sure if I would ever recover. As usual, I blamed myself for others' lack of empathy, which is a clear violation of 2 rules of the 4 agreements. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Back in the waiting section, "Hello, sir," I politely stated to a man next to me. I received only a nod. Well, I removed a book from my coat, the 4 agreements, hoping to read a few pages. The same man who only nodded his head when I greeted him quickly removed his hat and swore, "Excuse me, listen, that is the best book that you will ever read besides the Bible." Well, before I could thank him or explain why I hadn't read the 4 agreements, he turned away and put his hat back on. I was getting a CT scan of the brain, my 5th in 12 years. The technician asked about the urgency of my scan and explained that a brain tumor is unlikely. "But this time, sir, I am certain I have a cancerous tumor. My head constantly hurts, though my doctor suggested I am having tension headaches." While waiting for the technician to clean the table for my examination, I thought I would review a few pages from the 4 agreements. However, the book fell from my lap and the technician retrieved my book. "Mr. Castile, you have this book, the 4 agreements? Have you read it?" "Well, I'm sure you haven't. If so, you would have a better attitude and belief in life. Sir, please find a quiet place and read carefully. You are a likable person, though you often show self-doubt." During group therapy, the psychologist stated, "Mr. Castile, in 27 years of practice, I have never witnessed a patient who has suffered more psychological and mental abuse. Meanwhile, sir, reading the self-help book, the 4 agreements, might help in between our sessions." While waiting for my epidural injections in Shreveport, a nurse asked me to change into a gown and noticed I was reading a book. "Mr. Castile, I see that you're reading the book, the 4 agreements. Now, my father bought that book for me years ago, and right after I graduated from college, sir. Do you like the book?" While on the procedure table, ready for my epidural injections, Dr. XY, "Listen, Mr. Castile is reading the 4 agreements. Sir, have you read this book?" "No, but I know of it. You see, my wife loved it." Now, I'm sharing this because I care about humanity and hope others can avoid the hardship and waste of time I experienced. If I had combined the 4 agreements with mental therapy, I might have found more happiness and self-acceptance instead of initiating blame. But why should anyone else read the 4 agreements if their life requires little or no improvement? Well, by reading this book, you may enhance your financial well-being, strengthen your faith, foster closer family relationships, garner true friendships, and develop greater self-confidence. Here are several main ideas from the 4 agreements, along with some additional insights. Be impeccable with your word. That is, your word should be without sin. Today, politicians and groups will use a word as part of deceitful strategies to damage or destroy someone's reputation. A political group, a race, or a group's sexual orientation and may choose between synonyms which might have a more negative effect. Say the word homosexual, and this might embody a more negative connotation than saying the word gay. Take the word thug versus knucklehead. One race is called a thug while the other is referred to as a knucklehead, though the crime is nearly identical. Obviously, the word thug implies a more negative effect. In Shreveport, a woman I dated in college, my age of 83, a storyteller, says, "Clifton, you hate white people. But why would an educated black person make a baseless statement?" Well, listen. I had expressed my services not just to black men, also to white men while volunteering with hospice. Therefore, to counter my empathetic efforts to better all segments of society, she chose not to make her word impeccable. And hopefully, she believed that I would take her word personally and join her in her misery. And for a short period of time, I did. However, no one can condemn another to hell unless they desire to be. Though it is reasonable to believe this woman was living in hell due to a previous unhealthy marriage which she remained in and felt it would be better to stay in that toxic relationship, to be abused and unhappy rather than take the chance of finding happiness and fail, thus be more miserable. A few black people in Monroe, led by a minister, well, they used a word that was not impeccable. Traitor. Listen, Castile, you are a traitor to black people, though I had clearly demonstrated this was not the case and provided newspaper clippings of programs I initiated in numerous cities, which improved the lives of the needy. Of course, I could have challenged their character in serving others. Furthermore, their opinions shouldn't be a concern. We have learned to live from other people's point of view. We try to please our parents, our friends, segments of society, but they keep changing the requirement of acceptance. An individual should say, "This is who and what I am. This is what I believe. I can do certain things and certain things I cannot do. This is reality." Don't take anything personally. You awake in the morning after spending hours making yourself beautiful, choosing the correct clothing, and one of your best friends says, "Girlfriend, is that new dress you bought? If so, it doesn't go with you. Your dress makes you look too short and fat." Well, you take their thoughts personally and refuse to wear your beautiful and expensive dress that you saved for. Well, suppose you join a social media site expecting popularity and praise, but instead gain few friends and encounter many negative comments. You interpret their opinions as a reflection on your character, overlooking the fact that you do not need their opinions to appreciate yourself. A woman I held in the highest regard called early one morning when I hadn't slept and wondered, about my future. Thus, I made the assumption it was an encouraging call since I was living alone in a city where friends were difficult to acquire. "Mr. C, I must tell you something that you may not realize. Sir, no one here in Monroe can stand you." Because I had read the 4 agreements, I didn't accept her negative statement as I once would have. You see, I believe every day offers new opportunities and challenges, making life worthwhile. Of course, I should have inquired into how she and her acquaintances formed their opinions about me, and then challenged them to match my humanitarian deeds. We accept mistreatment because we think we deserve it. It is not unusual to witness politicians demonizing their opponents and their families. Following the elections, the victims who were ridiculed are invited to join the winners' administrations, and they accept their offers. Now, this clearly is a case of not taking anything personally. When we make one mistake, we believe we should pay for that one mistake thousands of times. Instead of aiming for perfection, we should simply do our best. And you see, when we do our best, we satisfy ourselves and God. We often hold friends and loved ones accountable for mistakes, and we're slow to forgive. Always do your best. Well, you try to get a job that you are certain you qualify for. However, you become upset because you were rejected. Although you may hold yourself responsible for not being sufficiently capable, it is important to recognize that you prepared for the employment opportunity and put forth your best effort. Thus, there's no need to blame or suffer. Consider this. Clifton, you do not have to be perfect for us to have a romantic relationship. Yes, I do. My mother holds the expectation that I demonstrate perfection. She is perfect, and I'll share my feelings when I become worthy of your love. Listen, I couldn't forgive myself for never being perfect, and thus I couldn't love myself or anyone else, though I wanted to. I was always falling in love, but I was never in love. Falling in love is not being in love. When someone falls in love, they often feel infatuation. Their emotions are all over the place, seeing only what they want to believe about another person. And thus this feeling is usually short-lived because imperfections are later realized. However, being in love is acceptance of who the person truly is and then slowly establishing lasting commitments. Now, about blame. You blame everything around you. Nobody and nothing is right. You blame the weather. You blame your child for your unplanned pregnancy. In 1981, I paid to have my opinion published in a local newspaper, stating that impoverished societies must hold God accountable for atrocities such as mass suffering, injustice, violence, hatred, indifference, jealousy, and thus cease from attending church services until God changed things. God is to blame for unpleasantries. There's little need to blame your parents, spouse, or employer who abuse you in your life, including yourself. However, it's time to stop the abuse. The more love we receive, a love within ourselves, the more we will find happiness. We'll be able to love others. Well, you think to yourself, if only I could find someone to love me. Though it seems nobody wants to be in a romantic relationship with a woman who has a child and not very attractive or smart. So I'll just spend the rest of my life alone. Well, perhaps you should consider if you have truly done everything to find the right person and not initiating blame and assuming. Those who are satisfied with their own lives frequently wish for others to experience that same sense of comfort, sometimes without even realizing it. It may simply be a nod of the head with a smile or a brief greeting leading to a conversation, something like this. Oh, I love your blouse. It's so pretty. Where did you get your blouse? It goes with you. Now, this may seem trivial, but not if someone has overwhelming challenges. My mother, a registered nurse, hoped I would become a doctor so we could practice medicine together and help the impoverished Choctaw community here in Idyllwild, Oklahoma. Well, since I wasn't interested in becoming a physician, she took it personally and refused to no longer communicate with me after I obtained my first college degree, which was not in medicine. She blamed me for her ongoing mental health issues and reminded me that children who disobey their parents will not live long. I believed this to be true my entire life. I refused to remember a birthday. I saw my mother's rejection as a guilt for not fulfilling her dream. Unknowingly, though, my mother and I violated the rules of the 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. Don Miguel Ruiz notes this, that if we can see our state of mind as a disease, we find there's a cure. We don't have to suffer any longer. A lack of self-appreciation can lead to making assumptions about others followed by judgments that often reflect your own internal perspectives or dislikes. And in some cases, this may also indicate concerns about being judged by others. We often hold numerous assumptions without even knowing an individual. And those assumptions that we believe about other people, in most cases, they're not valid. 95% are just junk. We appear to enjoy judging others, and for a brief period of time, we feel superior. We often believe, then we judge without seeking clarity. We can easily ask, how did you come up with that? I'd like to know. Simply stated, if we see imperfections in ourselves, we see the same in others, and conversely, it can be said. At times, your good character may go unnoticed, while a lack of character might be recognized. Well, by listening to this review of the 4 agreements, hopefully you realize you don't have to be perfect, and thus your friends will thank you. See, they can identify with not being perfect. The price of the 4 agreements is $8. See, it's not small in size and easy to read. I purchased 2 dozens with the intention of giving them to individuals who may be experiencing difficulties. If this presentation was helpful, please subscribe to my video channel and you will be notified of additional presentations. You're able to contact me at cliftonacastile.com, and there you'll be able to procure my email address because I want to hear from you. Now, I hope this is prudent. I am offering an agreement to be added to the 4 agreements. So now you will have 5 agreements. Okay, here's the 5th agreement. Always do your best to avoid becoming old. Thanks, everybody.